I'm back. I'm doing another video. Oh my god. Today I decided that I was gonna do a video not on just an album, but a video on like an entire person's career so far. This is all about Olivia Rodrigo. If you haven't guessed by the title of the video, I know I'm such a shock. I'm gonna do her rise to fame, so I'm gonna start on literally when she was born and go all the way up until modern day. Let's just get started. Olivia Rodrigo was born on February 20th, 2003 in California. She was born to her parents Chris and Jennifer. Her father is of Filipino descent and her mother is German and Irish. She was raised in a supportive middle-class household as an only child. She started taking singing and vocal coach lessons in kindergarten, and she learned how to play the guitar and piano as a child. Olivia's parents introduced her to classic rock and alternative bands like Green Day and No Doubt when she was young, which I think definitely influenced her kind of alternative poppy style that she's got going on. And a fun fact about Olivia is that she's actually half deaf in her left ear. She discovered this during a hearing test while she was at school. She was born with this condition known as unilateral I can fucking say it. She was born with a condition known as unilateral hearing. Kind of. You don't want to know how many tries this has taken me, guys. She was born with a condition known as unilateral hearing. Oh my god, you're joking. It's not even just unilateral hearing. She was born with a condition known as unilateral hearing loss, or single-sided deafness, where one ear has significantly reduced hearing. That's just a little fun fact about Olivia that took me way too long to try and say. I should have just given up because it's really not important. Olivia later discovered Taylor Swift, and she absolutely loved the way that Taylor would tell stories, especially in her Fearless album. It was a major influence in Olivia's songwriting process, which we will actually discuss later on, because this may have not been so great for Olivia as you may think. Olivia began acting in early life, starring in small roles in commercials.
Cabana dresses $15. You can bring them along in that beach bag of yours.
And her first on-screen role was actually in an American Doll movie called Grace Stirs Up Success in 2015 when Olivia was 12 years old. She finally got her big break in 2016 on the Disney Channel show Berk at just 13 years old. On Berk, Olivia played the role of Paige Olivera, a guitar-playing teen who made music videos with her best friend Frankie, who was also played by actress Madison Hugh, who Olivia is still friends with to this day. The show gave her her first real taste of acting and being on set. Despite Olivia being on the Disney show, it did not make her a household name. However, it did give her a lot of industry experience. Throughout the show, Olivia would play original songs foreshadowing what's to come. This show actually did not come without some controversy, so you would think a Disney Channel show would be free of controversy, but along comes Jake Paul. Jake Paul, who if you do not know, is a controversial YouTuber who at the time was cast on the show in season 1 to play Dirk Man. He was fired by the Disney Channel mid-season 2 for his behaviour outside of the show. Team 10, pranks, that one news report that we all saw. Yeah. It brought really bad press onto Disney and they absolutely did not want that. Jake Paul at this time was kind of in an awkward place as well. Like, I really don't know why he was on the Disney Channel, because he was also like bringing out that song.
Every day, bro. It's every day, bro. It's every day, bro. I said it's every day, bro.
The show actually quietly ended in 2019 after its 3rd season. There was no finale episode, there was no real ending to the show. It ended like any other episode. It wasn't particularly popular on Disney Channel. This type of ending was standard procedure for a show of its popularity. There was no official cancellation ever announced, but the show just never returned after season 3 finished. High School Musical, the musical, the series, mouthful, was based off of the film trilogy High School Musical that was created by writer Peter Barsaccini and director and choreographer Kenny Ortega. The plot centers around the students at East High School, Troy Bolton, who is the captain of his high school basketball team, the Wildcats, and Gabriela Montez, a star student who had just transferred to East High after winter break. The characters struggle picking between what they feel they have to do to be accepted socially or what they want to do, which is audition for the school musical. In the end, the characters see that they do not have to stick to social norms and can do both what they want to do and what they love to do, as well as trying new things out. The concept of High School Musical, the series, was a mockumentary style show like The Office that was not a remake of the original movie trilogy. It was more of a fictional story that was set in the real life East High where the original movies were shot. So it was almost as if like it was made to be High School Musical was fictional, but this show was not fictional, and it was like about the students that go to the actual school. I know I just said that, but I just felt like I needed to mansplain it for you a little bit more. Okay. The plot surrounds a new drama teacher, Jen, that decides that the school should stage a High School Musical, the musical, for the first ever time in that school. Olivia played the role of Nini, the main character in seasons 1 and 2. Nini is a sweet, introverted theatre kid with a powerful voice and big dreams. She's very similar to Olivia herself. The show starts with Olivia's character Nini dating EJ, but there's tension with her ex-boyfriend Ricky, played by Joshua Bassett. Oh my god, it's like real life. Their will they won't they arc drives most of season 1. Nini is cast as Gabriella in the school's production of High School Musical and struggles with insecurity and self-doubt, but grows into her own power throughout the show. She realises that she still has feelings for Ricky, and that causes a love triangle between the characters. There are just so many parallels to Olivia's real life here. It's spooky. In season 2, Nini leaves East High briefly to attend a prestigious performing arts school but finds it stifling and competitive and returns to East High. She begins writing and performing her own music, which is another reflection on Olivia's real life at the time. In season 3, Olivia was notably in the show much less. She was more of now a guest star, only appearing in a few scenes throughout the series. She was written out of the show with a graceful goodbye as her character moves to California to pursue her full-time music career. So I want to have a little look at how the show actually impacted Olivia's career just overall. So Olivia was going from Berserk, which wasn't the most successful show really, and it didn't I mean, it was a show that kids would watch, but it was never as big as Hannah Montana was as Waverly Place, those types of shows. It wasn't as big. Even at the time, I think it was airing around about the same time as Girl Meets World, which starred Sabrina Carpenter. Ooh. And it wasn't even as popular as that. So even getting 3 seasons is pretty crazy considering it wasn't the most popular. I would say, I mean, I was too old to watch Berserk by the time it came on. I remember it was on, like, there would be like Hannah Montana on before it, and then like, I don't know, Good Luck Charlie on after it, and I would like watch those two and then just not watch Berserk because I was absolutely not interested. But I would say it was probably the same for kids as like Ant Farm was for me when I would watch Disney Channel. Like, I would watch it, but it was never my favourite. I would also say something quite notable about Berserk is unfortunately that the one thing I remember about the show is the Drake Paul drama. I don't know if that's just because I didn't watch it or what, but I would say it was probably any credibility or achievement that the show had was definitely overshadowed by the Jake Paul drama, because I just immediately associate that show with him and not even Olivia. Olivia's role in High School Musical, the series, which I need to just start calling a High School Musical series because that is a mouthful. It was a completely new role. It was a more serious role than her role on Berserk, absolutely. It was based on one of the most popular teen movies from the 2000s, so it was obviously going to get quite a lot of engagement just based on that, not even considering the fact that this was actually the rollout of Disney Plus. High School Musical, the series came as like standard on Disney Plus, so as soon as you got Disney Plus, it was one of the first like Disney original series that was on there, and that was because the Disney Channel was just closing down, so they were migrating from the Disney Channel to Disney Plus, and this was their first ever like Disney Channel show, but it was on Disney Plus. As well as that, Olivia was cast as a lead role on the show and sang her original song for the soundtrack, All I Want, which went absolutely viral on TikTok. It now has over 1 billion streams, which is massive for a soundtrack song. Even a Disney Channel song, not even the fact that it's just a soundtrack, but being a Disney Channel song just makes it even crazier. That moment just proves that Olivia isn't just a good actress, but she's a legitimate songwriter with emotional depth, because that song wasn't even written particularly for the script of the show. I think she wrote it about her personal life and about her boyfriend at the time. While still filming for season 2, Olivia started writing her own music outside of the show and signed with Geffen Records, which was a massive label outside of Disney's umbrella, which is very rare for Disney stars currently under Disney's control. She started working with the producer Dan Nigro, who is a former indie musician himself. He was the lead... Whoa. Did you guys see that? Olivia started working with producer Dan Nigro, who was a former indie musician himself. He was the lead vocalist and guitarist in the indie rock band As Tall as Lions, and working with Dan helped Olivia shape her now iconic sound. On January 8th, 2021, Olivia released Driver's License, her debut single, which was a raw, emotional, cinematic pop ballad that instantly went viral. Breakup rumours began to swirl about her and her co-star, Joshua Bassett. The song broke Spotify record for most streams in a single week globally and went #1 in 20 countries. Debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was a first for a Disney star since Miley or Selena, and it stayed at #1 for 8 weeks straight. The song came out at such a perfect time. It was in early 2021 when people were at home glued to their phones and TikTok because we were all stuck inside due to a worldwide pandemic. Also, because of this, fans had a lot more time on their hands to connect all the dots between Olivia, Joshua, and Sabrina. This created an at-home, real-life teen heartbreak drama. We have to remember that this success was definitely not just based on Olivia's personal life. It was also based a lot on the fact that Olivia is an incredible songwriter and a fantastic singer and performer. She also already had this built-in fan base from the High School Musical series, many of who were already shipping Olivia and Joshua together. So then when they broke up in real life, it felt almost personal to them.
His whole life, and I feel bad for him. I feel sad. I feel bad for the guy.
You also have to remember, this show was mostly watched by like teenagers and preteens, so I mean, this being more of a parasocial relationship is more understandable considering the fact that they were all like 13 years old. This really wasn't the normal debut for a Disney star. It had raw emotional depth and was written by Olivia herself. It wasn't just a song written by some writer that works for Disney and then just released. But also at the same time, it does really open you up to so much more criticism and what it's like being a real celebrity, and it was very quick for Olivia. I mean, you have to consider the fact that, okay, she was on Disney, but she was never really recognised. I mean, if I saw Olivia Rodrigo walking down the street,
I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
I'm gonna go through the timeline of things. Please bear with me if some of this is not 100% accurate, but I did my very best to fact check all of this, and I do not want to be telling you guys lies. So anything that I do not know is fact. I will make that very clear. I hope. Okay, early 2019, Olivia and Joshua meet while filming High School Musical, the series, and intense on-screen chemistry led to real-life romance rumours. Nothing was ever confirmed, I will say. But January 2020, Olivia and Joshua co-write the song Just for a Moment, the High School Musical series soundtrack, and publicly emphasise how close they were. Olivia called him her best friend, and Olivia later revealed that Joshua took her driving for the first time. March 2020, the production of High School Musical, the series halts for COVID restrictions. Summer 2020, Joshua was spotted at a Black Lives Matter protest with Sabrina Carpenter, followed by lunch dates and Halloween pictures, sparking rumours that Olivia and Joshua had split. Joshua also releases his song Anyone Else in July. The song that he released is kind of blurry what it's about. There's so many rumours about who's writing songs about who, so this one doesn't really matter. However, in July, August time this same year, 2020, around about a month after the release of Anyone Else, Olivia posted a TikTok captioned "Failed relationships" while eating a muffin over her song All I Want. In November 2020, filming resumes on High School Musical, the series, and then in January 2021, Olivia drops Driver's License, which refers to that blonde girl. Hello, I just wanted to add in that when Olivia first teased Driver's License on her Instagram, she sang the line, "And you're probably with that brunette girl," that obviously was then changed to "with that blonde girl," most likely because when she first teased the song it was pretty fresh and she knew that it would be incredibly obvious and didn't want to have to deal with that yet, but I just thought that was a fun fact that I wanted to include. Okay, bye! 2 weeks later, in mid-January 2021, Joshua responds with Lie Lie Lie, which he claims was not about Olivia, but he could have picked better timing. Could he not? I don't know. I will say Joshua has spoken about the meaning behind this song. He said that it was about a friend that backstabbed him and was talking shit behind his back. And that is, I think that's true. I really don't think that's anything else. However, he must have known. But I will also say that Joshua was going through quite a lot during this period of time, which I will touch on in a second. So I feel like maybe he didn't have too much control over the release of the song. I know that he had announced earlier that the song would come out on the date that it came out on, which was 2 weeks after Olivia's song came out. So he probably didn't have very much control in changing that, and I understand that, and that is just a way to be a little bit more transparent. However, I will still say people won't have looked at all the context at the time, and that is another thing that probably led to this being blown out of proportion as much as it was. And then Sabrina answered with Skin. She implied she didn't mean any harm, but girl, come on. Listen to the words of that song again, like, we will go through that in a minute. Early 2021, Joshua posted his support for Olivia's driver's license and said there's no bad blood. He posted this on his Instagram story after like all the cast of High School Musical also posted their support, and his came like a little bit later. It felt kind of forced. And in February 2021, filming wraps for High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 2, just 4 weeks after driver's license drops, which means that must have been an awkward 4 weeks. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Lie 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 now. Lyrics in Lie Lie Lie, I sat and watched the music video and listened to all these words, and I'll be honest, it really doesn't tie too deeply into Olivia and his relationship, I don't think. But one lyric that stuck out to me was, "You're acting all so innocent, like I'm the only one to blame." That could tie into when we talk about his 3 singles that he brings out later on. But fans criticised the song despite Joshua claiming that the song was written 2 years ago before the release. The lyrics of the song came across as aggressive, and the timing of it coming out straight after Driver's License didn't help its case of it not being about Olivia. Then we have Skin by Sabrina. I really like Sabrina Carpenter, but girl, this could have been handled in so many better ways. I mean, I really don't know what it was like to be in her position in that situation, but all I can say is this was not the move, girl. A lyric on Skin by Sabrina Carpenter is, "You've been telling your side, so I'll be telling mine." Skin was released just 2 weeks after Driver's License and 1 week after Lie Lie Lie. Some of the lyrics sparked speculation. Maybe we could have been friends if I met you in another life. Maybe you didn't mean it. Maybe blonde was the only rhyme. You can try to get under my skin, under my skin, under my skin, while he's on mine. People saw this as taunting Olivia. Sabrina insisted that the song wasn't a diss and that it wasn't calling out a single person. However, timing of the song's release made it feel like a clapback, even if it wasn't meant to be. And the tone of the song came across as smug, which clashed with the emotional vulnerability of Olivia's driver's license. Sabrina was accused of being insensitive and capitalizing off the drama, and also taunting Olivia, which gave off a very mean girl vibe. This is the perspective of a girl who was watching all this unfold. My side was Olivia's side. I was like, Sabrina, who do you think you are? So Sabrina then responded to these rumours with an Instagram post that was captioned, "I wasn't bothered by a few lines in a song and wrote a diss track about it. It was a tipping point in my life for countless reasons. I was inspired to do what I usually do, to cope, write something that I wish I could have told myself in the past. The song isn't calling out one single person. Some lines address a specific situation, while other lines address plenty of other experiences that I've had this year." A few hours after Skin was released, Olivia tweeted, "I didn't even rhyme anything with blonde LOL," which was the first time Olivia inserted herself into any of the drama publicly past the release of Driver's License. That's so funny, girl. That was funny. Oh, because it's so true. Like, maybe blonde was the only rhyme. It literally is like, and you're with that blonde girl. I don't hear a rhyme. Talking about Driver's License with Billboard, Olivia said, "I totally understand people's curiosity with the specifics of who the song is about and what it's about. To me, that's really the least important part of the song. It's resonating with people because of how emotional it is, and I think everything else is not important." After the release of Driver's License, Joshua had a major medical emergency. He suffered septic shock and stress-induced heart failure. Doctors said he only had about 30% chance of survival. Joshua then opened up about suffering daily panic attacks and depression afterwards. There was criticism of Olivia's silence afterwards. Olivia didn't publicly acknowledge or reach out. Some fans said that it wasn't Olivia's business and didn't have to say anything, and it would only fuel the fire. Others criticised his silence, saying that she was the reason he was getting hate and that it was getting out of control without Olivia making a comment. I personally don't believe it is Olivia's responsibility to make a comment in this situation. However, I do think it may have helped things. I think that Olivia was a young girl. I mean, she was only 17 at the time of all of this happening. She also will have had managers and publicists telling her exactly what to do, and it may have been in her best interest to just keep quiet, because it really was not a good look if you think about the fact that she brought out a song and then Joshua has a severe stress related illness that is most likely caused by the hate that he was getting because of the song that she released. I really don't think that is Olivia's fault. I don't think Olivia knew how big the song was going to get, and I also don't think Olivia really intended on any of this happening to the scale that it did. I can't even imagine how it must have felt to be Joshua. I feel like there's two ways of looking at it, because I feel like Olivia could have commented on it and just made it worse, and it might have just made the situation blow up even more, but then she could have also maybe just said something, and that would have at least maybe gotten her out of it a bit. That is the last I'm really going to speak on Josh. I know that there's quite a lot of drama with him, but it's not something I really want to cover just because it gets kind of dark. In December 2021, Joshua released 3 songs, Crisis, Secret and Set Me Free, which fans speculated were about the entire situation. He interpreted that the songs accused Olivia of cheating on him and that there were more sides to the story than just Olivia's. I'm sure there are. I am sure there are. I mean, we've had part of Sabrina's and we've had a lot of Joshua's, but he keeps saying that he's not going to talk about it, but then he keeps releasing songs and being very cryptic about what they mean. I mean, the song Secret basically says that Olivia cheated on him, if it is about Olivia allegedly, but who knows. I'm not going to speculate too much on him. I remember listening to Secret. It's an alright song, I'll be honest, but God knows what it's about. Sabrina released her 5th studio album, Emails That I Can't Send, which featured the song Because I Liked a Boy, which was basically about the Olivia Josh drama. It was much better received than Skin. I love this song. I can't say the same for Skin. It felt like a more real, authentic look at the situation through Sabrina's eyes, and it is way less defensive than the way that Skin came across. I mean, it also just gives us that clarification that when everything actually happened, they had already broken up, so she was just kind of like, what is going on? Why do you guys all care now? It's not even this isn't current news. Olivia and Joshua were then pictured together at the High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 3 premiere. Most likely this was contractual, but it was still nice to see them together after everything. I feel like that must have been kind of awkward, at least a little bit. And just to finish it off, Olivia and Sabrina appeared to squash the beef, if there even was any. I mean, that has not even been confirmed in any interviews. They've all denied it, so who even knows. But at the 2022 Met Gala, the photo of them talking went viral on Twitter. And then more recently at the 2025 Grammys, the pair were spotted hugging in the background of a video. And then even more recently, as of the 27th of June, Sabrina was spotted supporting Olivia at her headlining set at the EST Hyde Park Festival, which both were headlining. Olivia was headlining on the 27th of June and Sabrina headlined on the 5th of July, which was literally just a couple days ago. And that is just so cool. I mean, look how much they've both just grown in the last few years. It's amazing to see. Okay, so what's next after Driver's License? On February 20th, 2021, which is Olivia's birthday, SNL did a Driver's License sketch. The scene is set in a bar with 6 guys playing pool when Ray-Jean Page, that's really hard to say, where a character played by Ray-Jean Page puts on his song, which is Driver's License. It moves the other guys at the bar and ends up with them breaking down the song, comparing it to Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift before belting out the chorus emotionally. The Joshua Bassett, Sabrina Carpenter dramas are also referred to in the sketch. The sketch was released on Olivia's 18th birthday and she tweeted, "Driver's License SNL sketch is the best birthday present ever. I'm shaking." This was a key moment that proved that Olivia had entered the pop culture stratosphere. She was no longer just a Disney breakout but a household name. Okay, moving on to the sour era. On April 1st, 2021, Olivia announced her upcoming album, confirming that it would drop on May 21st, 2021. The same day as the announcement, she dropped Deja Vu, which was the second single from the album. On April 13th, Olivia revealed the album's title, which was Sour, the track list and the cover artwork during an Instagram live. The theme was a purple scrapbook-like Y2K diary, and pre-orders opened immediately after the announcement, and anticipation skyrocketed. Sour became one of 2021's most eagerly anticipated debuts. This was an incredibly strategic way to roll out the album. It maintained buzz whilst keeping fans engaged, and the announcement announcement came just 7 weeks before the album's actual release, meaning there was literally no time for anybody to lose hype around the album because they were still listening to the 2 singles that had already been released. On May 14th, 2021, Good For You was released. This was a very different song to the first 2 singles. It was more upbeat, angry, and it was more of a pop punk anthem. It went viral on TikTok immediately. Around about this time, Olivia did some interviews, but not too many, and didn't focus on the drama and more focused on the emotional honesty of her music, letting her songs speak for themselves instead of herself speak for herself. The Sour release. So on May 21st, Sour was released to the world. It became Spotify's most streamed album in a single week by a female artist at the time. Sour debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 albums chart, and Olivia became the first female artist to have all of her debut album singles into the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. The album was universally praised, with Rolling Stone calling it a masterpiece of modern melodrama. Pitchfork said it was brilliantly sharp and emotionally raw, and The Guardian said it was one of the best pop debuts of the decade. The album's release made Olivia a full-blown star. She was compared to Taylor Swift, who Olivia publicly had called her hero. In late 2021, Olivia was nominated for 7 Grammys. She was nominated for Best New Artist, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Pop Solo Performance, Best Pop Vocal Album, and Best Music Video. Olivia won 3 of the awards that she was nominated for: Best New Artist, Best Pop Solo Performance, and Best Pop Vocal Album. Olivia went from breakout debut to Grammy legend in under a year and matched her viral explosion with industry validation, proving her place isn't just in viral culture but is in music history. Okay, more drama. So after Sour's release, Olivia had to add credits to 3 of the songs on her album. The first being Deja Vu and One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. Writing credits were given to Jack Antonoff, Taylor Swift, and St. Vincent, using elements of Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer on Deja Vu, and credits were given to Swift and Antonoff for interpolating New Year's Day on One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. This sparked rumours of a feud between the artists, claiming that Taylor forced credit or that Olivia felt betrayed. Paramore drama surrounded Olivia's song Good For You. Fans immediately noticed similarities between Good For You and Paramore's hit song Misery Business, especially the chord progression and angsty delivery. It became a big talking point on social media, and several months later, Paramore's Hayley Williams and Josh Farrell were retroactively added as songwriters. This was controversial, as people thought that it was sexist and unfair, as artists like Ed Sheeran had gotten away with much worse without losing half of their royalties. And critics said this set a bad precedent. So if you take inspiration from somebody, you then have to give them half of your royalties now. That isn't really the way that music was supposed to be made, and it could kind of make anybody able to just claim credit on someone else's song just because it sounded remotely similar, or because they've said that they're interested in the artist, which is kind of funny, and I will touch on that in a second. Elvis Costello fans actually speculated that Brutal was inspired by his riff, and he went on to say, well, that's how music works. You take inspiration from something and make something new, which I think is so great that he said that, and I really respect him for that. So I was really interested in what this Ed Sheeran example was when I was researching, so I went a little bit deeper into it. Ed Sheeran faced multiple lawsuits over alleged copyright infringement. People claim that his song copied theirs. The 2 most notable examples are Thinking Out Loud, which was very similar to Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. Ed even brought his guitar into court to show how common the chords were in pop music. The lawsuit dragged on for years, and in 2023 Ed actually won the case. And then there was the Shape of You versus OY by Sammy Chokri lawsuit. A smaller artist named Sammy Chokri said that Ed copied the hook of his song OY in Ed's song Shape of You, where he goes, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. That's what I mean, that's what I'm saying. This went to UK High Court, and the judge ruled that there was no intentional copying, so Ed won both of those cases. So when we compare this to Olivia Rodrigo, Ed went to court and fought these battles and won, but 17-year-old Olivia was never even sued, yet still gave up the credits and the royalties. This drama highlighted the power imbalance in the industry, and Olivia, a young woman breaking through, was pressured to retroactively credit older, more established artists. And when young women, especially new artists, are inspired by older artists, they are accused of copying and pressured to give credit instead of being praised. There are signs, however, that there was never actually real drama between Taylor and Olivia. So Olivia continues to support Taylor and is an active fan, and in an interview with Rolling Stone she said, I don't have beef with anyone, I'm very chill. There is also evidence though of Conan Gray, who is one of Olivia's best friends, being interviewed, and they were asked if they had heard Midnights by Taylor Swift yet, and they've said, no, we haven't had time to listen to it yet.
Do you have a favorite song on Midnights?
Oh, no, I don't. Oh, people are gonna really hate me for saying this.
People have been dying to know this answer.
I actually haven't listened all the way through yet. I know, I'm so...
It's okay, it's okay.
Which could be seen as shade, or it could also be seen as, well, they didn't want to say that they'd heard it because they didn't want to be accused of copying it, and if they've never heard it then they can't copy it, right? There was more recently this drama that I really begrudge giving any time to because it's just so stupid. We filmed a secret acoustic set at the famous Bluebird Cafe as part of a project with Apple Music. Fans pointed out that a photo of Taylor Swift was missing from behind the stage that Olivia was stood on, and thought that it was a sign of the feud that Olivia had asked them to take this picture of Taylor Swift down. But the Bluebird Cafe's manager actually ended up clarifying that they had to take the picture down for licensing reasons, like for Apple's cameras, and that Olivia never made any request for the picture to be taken down. I just think that one's absolutely crazy. Like, it just proves how silly the internet can be sometimes and how they will just reach for anything. Like, I really do not think Olivia would have a problem singing in front of a picture of Taylor Swift. I don't think she would ask for them to take it down. So now we're moving on to the Sour Tour. So the Sour Tour began on April 5th, 2022 in Portland, Oregon, and ended on July 7th in London, England. Woohoo. The tour spanned across North America and Europe, and Olivia played in theatres and mid-sized arenas and featured special guests such as Gracie Abrams, Holly Humberstone, Baby Queen and Chappell Roan. The tour grossed about 1.3 million in reported venues and sold out rapidly. Some tickets were actually resold for over $9,000, and this resulted in Olivia getting a lot of criticism for choosing smaller venues. So a lot of people were asking, well, why did she choose smaller venues? She was clearly a massive star at the time. Why would you choose to perform in a venue that would only house maybe a couple thousand people? So the reason why she did this was to prioritize intimacy and to not skip steps. She promised that there would be bigger venues in the future, but the tour was received incredibly well with fans, saying that they travelled hundreds of miles to see her and that they would happily do it again. The tour was celebrated for its emotional depth and its intimate feel. So after Sour Tour comes Guts. On June 26, 2023, Olivia announced her second album, Guts, that was due to release on September 8th, 2023. The lead single, Vampire, was released on June 30th, just 4 days after the announcement, and it went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released alongside a music video that was directed by Petra Collins, and Olivia announced the track list on July 31st. There were 11 tracks on the album, and then on August 11th, the second single from the album was released, titled Bad Idea Right. On September 7th, just 1 day before the album's release, there was a Guts trailer and pop-up. The trailer was a camp infomercial narrated by Mark Krim, who was the voice used in Anchorman.
Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, the state-of-the-art new product that takes all your jumbled up emotions and jumbles them up even further. Call today for a free consultation.
And the trailer revealed the existence of hidden bonus tracks. At the pop-up, Olivia made a surprise appearance for an invite-only Q&A event. On September 8th, Guts was released worldwide. It was released under Geffen Records again, the same as Sour, and was produced by the same producer, Dan Nigro. Guts had immediate success, debuting at #1 in 15 countries, and every track charted on Spotify's global top 50. On September 13th, Olivia announced the Guts World Tour, and on September 15th, Getting Back was actually released as a single. Guts was nominated for 6 awards at the 66 Grammy Awards: Album of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Album, Record of the Year for Vampire, Song of the Year, Best Vocal Performance, Best Rock Song for Ballad of a Homeschool Girl. However, it didn't win any Grammys this year. It didn't win any. However, she did win Album of the Year at the People's Choice Awards, Favourite Album at the Kids' Choice Awards, and Best Pop Album at the High Art Music Awards, amongst many more. It was speculated that some of the songs on Guts were about Olivia's short romance with producer Adam Faze. The two briefly dated in 2021 when Olivia was 18 and he was 24. Fans speculate that songs like Vampire, Logical and Making the Bed were about him. Before the Guts tour started, Olivia did a surprise show in LA for Fun for Good and promo shows in New York City and across Europe, including her performance of Noah Khan's Stick Season on BBC's Live Lounge that went viral. And now we're on to the Guts World Tour. So the Guts World Tour started on February 23rd, 2024. There were 102 shows planned across the world. This was Olivia's first arena/stadium tour, and this was moving beyond the intimate theatres of the Sour Tour. The Guts Tour had openers such as Chappell Roan, The Breeders, Remy Wolf, Pink Panthers and more. And on March 19th in Chicago, Olivia announced the Guts Deluxe edition of her album. Her and her backup dancers had pieces of paper that they would hold up during Getting Back, and it all had the names of the new 5 deluxe tracks, which were Obsessed, Girl I've Always Been, Scared of My Guitar, Stranger and So American. The deluxe released just 3 days later on March 22nd. In May 2024, the LA show was filmed for a Netflix special, which was then later released on October 2nd, 2024. During the Guts tour, Olivia used her platform for activism. During the Missouri stop of the tour in March 2024, fans were given Plan B, condoms, and abortion hotline info through Olivia's Fund for Good partnership with the National Network for Abortion Funds. The tour wrapped on July 21st, 2025 after a 102-show run spanning 6 continents. Okay, so past the Guts tour, kind of to modern day now pretty much. So Olivia has most recently been dominating the festival headlines with her headlining the Gov Ball in New York City on June 7th, 2025. She also headlined BST Festival at Hyde Park and took over the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury, getting fantastic reviews from critics. She even brought out Robert Smith from The Cure to sing Just Like Heaven and Friday I'm in Love. And this year, Olivia has already played over 17 festivals just in 2025. That's absolutely crazy. And that's pretty much it. So here we are in modern day. So we have 2 Olivia Rodrigo albums so far, and it is rumoured that she's going to be coming out with a new one soon, possibly beginning of 2026, which will be so exciting. She definitely deserves a break. She's not even having a break. I keep reading things and it's like, oh, she's currently having a break, she's currently doing this. Girl, she's just been at so many festivals, like that's not a break. She's now in a really happy relationship with Louis Partridge, who I think is an actor. But yeah, I hope this is like, gives us more tunes like So American, I suppose, because that's banger. That's a proper good song, that. Oh yeah, other than that, I really don't have much to say. I would just say that Olivia she's really solidified her spot as a once in a generation songwriter. I mean, she is spectacular, and I really think she's up there with Taylor Swift. I'm a bit too scared to go into the Taylor Swift of it all because I may have a controversial opinion on it. I love Taylor Swift to bits. I went to go and see the Eras tour. I love her. I've been a Taylor Swift fan since I was a child. I do have some opinions on her tactics when it comes to the charts. I think that Taylor Swift may be threatened by Olivia a little bit. I think that she sees a bit of herself in Olivia, maybe. I think that could potentially be the reason why everything happened with the credit situation. Mullet's saying hey again. Did I say properly hey this time? You didn't say hello last time properly. Mullet said hi. Yeah, that is pretty much it. I said I didn't want to talk too much about Taylor Swift, and then I almost said too much. I don't want to anger the Swifties. Like, they are protective over that woman, and I get it. I do. I really enjoyed researching this one. Not that I didn't enjoy researching the Kesha one. It was just that was a heavy one, and this one is much more stupid and lighthearted, isn't it? It's teenage drama. Thank you for watching, and I'm sure I'll make another video and hopefully see you again. I've heard that you're meant to like tell people to like and subscribe and all that stuff, so I would really appreciate it. Every time I go on YouTube and I see like I've had 6 likes, I'm like, ah! So if you wouldn't mind, that would be so cool if you would maybe like my video. I really did work hard on it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye.